Today is a very willful sharing. Those who are familiar with me know that I studied MBA in the Netherlands, and the tuition fee was more than 500,000 yuan. Compared with domestic MBAs, it was quite cheap, but it was a big profit for me personally because this MBA course is too niche, full of bad farts that only a country like the Netherlands with hundreds of years of mercantilism can hold back. How bad can these farts be? There is basically no such thing in domestic business schools in Chinese. It took me less than a year to write an answer on Jihu, and it ranked in the top 10 in Jihu. There was no trick, just copying and pasting the class notes. So today, I want to share with you the course that caused me the most cognitive conflict back then. Leadership. What do you think of leadership? You can leave a message and let everyone taste it together. In the first class, the instructor will test the bottom and call on people to stand up and talk about their understanding of leadership. You see, my last name is Chow, and my English name starts with the letter C. I was called on the first person on the list, so I was not afraid. I stood up and gave a combination of Eastern Confucian business philosophy and Western suit management, and then I was used as a negative example. I thought too softly, or as the instructor said, too pussy. This course teaches you how to climb up in a business organization, or even in the whole society. What do you think climbing is? It means stepping on others to climb up. There is no other way. The allocation of social resources and the status structure are pyramid-shaped. The higher you go, the fewer people there are. The higher you go, the more sophisticated people you meet. It's all real. Student C, what are you talking about? Gentle and elegant chicken soup for the soul. Student C, you can solve 90% of the problems you encounter when you become strong. For the weak chicken, you have to use powerful materials. The instructor arranged a customized homework for me to study the history of gangs in various countries. Why do you have to think about gangs to climb up? 3 reasons. First, this is the most natural human organization. The only language rule is violence. The strongest has the final say. There are not too many rules and regulations, so it is suitable for controlling variables and beginners. Second, the world is a makeshift team, but makeshift teams also have teams. If you can't even dig up a simple gang, why do you think you can create your own, highly controlled, and more complex organizational structure? Third, being a gang leader in a mind game is cool, and it's even cooler to gather all the ability elements to be a gang leader. This is actually a shock therapy given to me by my mentor, allowing me to return from the illusory and polite world to the real cruel world. The solution to the cruel world is to be strong, to be power, and to be hard. Then let's talk about the hardcore climbing skills in the sissy era, the flat era, and the weak era. The first climbing skill is desire. Desire is the fuel of power. What do you really want? What do you fantasize about? What do you desire? What are hidden in the most secret corners of your heart? You don't need to say it, but don't lie to yourself and don't pretend that your desires are insignificant. For example, I just said that the world is a makeshift team. This is the most lethal stalk on the internet. It can be used to criticize human organizations of all sizes, and some seemingly professional, rigorous, and high-end people who get together to form an imaginary community. You think that you are good at management, good at calculations, and strong in strategy, but after seeing the inside story, you find that it is actually sloppy and perfunctory, a mess, and nothing more than that. For example, the original family, the school you graduated from, the company you work for, and the industry you are engaged in are all bad. Well, the next step is that some people will verbally curse, feel good, get a little psychological balance, and turn around and continue to lie down. Others will think, gosh, this is a major benefit since the people who seem unattainable are actually nothing big. Since everyone is just a makeshift team, I can replace them. The difference between these two types of people lies in whether desire can be efficiently transformed into self-drive. Procrastination and mental lying down are actually a kind of desire. It is human nature not to move. In order not to think or act, we can come up with any excuses, but there are often other restless desires in our hearts, which can drive us to move. However, we subconsciously know that those desires to move face greater challenges and pain when they are transformed into actions than those desires not to move. In order to seek benefits and avoid harm, most people, including me, indulge their desires to not move. This immobility is more reflected in social practice as mechanical repetitive activities to cover up those creative and exploratory actions that should be done more, constantly stepping out of the comfort zone and into the learning zone. So what we need to do is to constantly dig out the desires we want to move to suppress the desires we don't want to move. The second climbing skill is aggression. If you want to climb up or simply want to have a place, you must remember a formula: aggression plus control. Some big guys may be confused. Isn't the mainstream of this society advocating harmony and win-win? Why should there be aggression? It's very simple, because aggression is the antonym of weakness. Unfortunately, whether it is parents, schools, or society, they are all encouraging and teaching young people to be kind, which can be said to be the biggest misunderstanding of contemporary people. Promoting pure kindness is not promoting virtue, but simply a shepherding technique that is convenient for management. Dear big guys, recall whether there are people around you who are trapped in internal friction in the workplace and life. They are all trying to maintain a false personality. I am a good person. I am willing to help others. I am easy to communicate and easy to talk to. Then, the world these people face is often more and more cruel. People around them will push, squeeze, and force them intentionally or unintentionally. Anyway, the pure and kind people will always avoid conflicts, try to maintain superficial harmony, and constantly comfort themselves, suffer losses, and fight. Indeed, such an attitude can bring short-term harmony. For example, in workplace cooperation, everyone will take the initiative to find those who are easy to talk to cooperate, but think about it, is such cooperation equal? Or is it just with the mentality that you will continue to sacrifice your own interests to fulfill me? So I look for you? In this environment that is becoming more and more close to zero-sum game, people who are not aggressive, to put it in a good way, are people who please others, to put it in a bad way, are prey. On the contrary, people who are aggressive tend to have a smoother life, surrounded by good people, all smiling faces, and all assistance. Why? It's very simple. They project strong self-confidence and a strong driving force to achieve their goals to the people around them. Human nature has two major characteristics. The first is to seek benefits and avoid harm. Most people will not help in times of need, but will only add icing on the cake. We can do a simple empathy. Would you rather help a weak person who has no self-confidence and can only maintain superficial harmony, or help a strong person who is stable and powerful, full of motivation but maybe a little reckless? The second human characteristic is to bully the weak and fear the strong. Most people's behavior is a balanced consideration of benefits and costs. This is actually a shock therapy given to me by my mentor. When facing pure and kind people, the cost of doing evil will become very low, and most people will have greater concerns before trying to calculate, bully, hinder, and take advantage of those strong people. Of course, aggression does not mean offensiveness. In Western terms, it means wielding a big stick and not letting it fall and speaking softly. In traditional Chinese wisdom, it means that a gentleman has tools but does not use them. How to grasp the degree of aggression. The best model is to learn from the strong people around you. How to learn specifically. If you want others to teach you willingly, you don't need to give gifts, and you must not be humble. Just give excessive feedback. If someone tells you to run 50 meters, you run 100 meters. You have attitude and growth. He teaches with feedback and results, which is the most emotional value that can be provided when seeking advice. As for why you can't be humble, don't forget the benefits of aggression. The third climbing skill is decisiveness. Decisiveness corresponds to decisiveness and commitment. According to our domestic saying, it means being able to take the lead and take. Let me tell you a small case first. I wonder if you have observed such a phenomenon, a dinner party puzzle. A group of friends said they want to eat. Everyone is casual. No one is picky, no one makes a decision, and after a long time, one person comes out and says, "Let's go to that restaurant." Often one sentence determines the direction of the group's behavior, which is leadership, that is, decisiveness. Of course, after taking the lead, you have to take responsibility. For example, the casual monsters will start to change, not saying anything when choosing a place, and start to express various opinions after deciding. What should the leader do at this time? Change it immediately? No. First, the group has already defaulted to going to a certain restaurant. If you change it, it may make someone else uncomfortable. For example, his distance has changed from close to far, and he will think that you put the interests of this complainer above the interests of his supporter, who will support you in the future. Second, if you can change it once, you can also change it the second time, and the prestige of the decision-making will be gone. Third, if you change it as soon as the other party complains, it means that the complainer finally decides the direction of the group, which is equivalent to the leadership handing over to someone else. So at this time, you must be able to take on the responsibility. You can come or not. Anyway, you will go to this place. If you are unhappy, you have to complain. The teacher will come to me. Don't shake the morale of the troops. From making a firm decision to taking the consequences of the decision, this forms a closed loop of leadership. Of course, the dinner party is just a small case. There are more similar situations in real life, and for example, whether to do a project, you can procrastinate, conduct various surveys, and have various concerns in the early stage. But once you decide to do it, you must be firm and decisive, and you must follow orders without hesitation. Even if you are panicking inside, you must be confident on the surface. Why? This involves the mechanism of leadership. You have to achieve your goals through the most difficult creature in the world to control. That is, other people. Those who have had work experience know that if things are not done in the end, it is not necessarily because of the direction. Sometimes it is just that the execution is not in place. This is not to blame the grassroots. The inadequate execution is still the fault of the manager, because the leader did not inspire the strongest combat effectiveness of the main team when the resources are necessarily effective. This kind of stimulation is a complex and artistic process, which requires both spiritual and material promotion. But it is very simple to extinguish fighting spirit. A single factor can veto it. The most common extinguishing factor is doubt. As long as there is doubt within the team, whether it is doubt about the leader or the path, everyone will start to protect themselves based on rationality. To put it bluntly, it is to work without effort. If you are not confident in yourself and do not give instructions decisively, then why should I rush forward like a rookie? If you rush too fast, maybe the direction will change tomorrow. Then wouldn't it be in vain? If your leader himself does not dare to take responsibility and gives instructions with various disclaimers, then why should I work hard like a rookie? The more you do, the more you will be blamed if something goes wrong. Isn't it digging a hole for yourself? If you want people to follow you, you must be decisive. If you succeed, you are a strong and powerful person with an iron fist. If you fail, you are a tyrant with impetuous stubbornness. But if you are not decisive, you must be a weak chicken with indecision. That I used to think that whether you are a person or a leader, you should be open and honest, discuss with all employees, and brainstorm. But indeed, after working for a long time, I also found that doing so would send a wrong message. This person does not want to make decisions. This person does not want to take responsibility. And following this person will not bring you good results. Today's sharing ends here. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe.